In this series, I look at different strategies, heroes and items you can use against an ultimate ability in Dota. By popular demand, I'm going to be looking at Omnislash. So Juggernaut is one of the most picked heroes in the last month, so that means that it's really important that you know how he works. But also this video will help you with a bunch of tips and tricks, and there's some stuff is really basic and you might know it already, but the idea is that there's a little bit of information for everyone regardless of your skill level. So to start off with some really basic information is that Omnislash is physical damage. So it scales with his items and his levels. So the more damage Juggernaut has, the more powerful his Omnislash is. So Juggernaut typically builds Battle Fury and Manta, and sometimes the Fusel Blade as well. So the thing is that these are all giving him more damage and more capability to farm. And if you can slow down his farm in the laning stage or even in the mid part of the game, this is what makes Juggernaut suffer as a whole, because later when he's up against your carry, he won't have a good enough time to deal with him. To talk about items, you also can use your items during Omnislash. You don't see people doing it that often, but sometimes you will occasionally see pro players jumping with their Blink Dagger during their Omnislash to jump from one target to the other. The thing with this is that you actually have to be able to jump to someone that you can see in the fog of war. You can't just blindly jump from the vision into the fog and hope that it will go on to someone. It will just end the Omnislash. But it's kind of an interesting interaction. And Juggernaut as a whole is a hero that has a large skill broad, he's really broad in terms of how a 2K and a pro player will play Juggernaut is quite different. One of these simple things is dodging projectiles with Manta style. So using it obviously disjoints, but the thing is that you also use your Manta excessively to farm, especially in more risky areas. This is something that you see players doing sometimes, but they don't do it effectively enough. It's like an efficiency thing. So the thing is that even to keep up with mana, people are flying clarities out to themselves. As a whole, these are kind of tips as well for Juggernaut, but as a whole it's important to know how these work. Now the other thing I want to go on to is extra Omnislashes. So Juggernaut can get Omnislashes, extra slashes, two ways, either through Aghanim Scepter or his level 25 talent plus 5 Omnislash strikes. Either way, this is something that you need to consider maybe later in the game, because you might be expecting the Omnislash to end at a specific point, and some items like Eternal Form and any invulnerabilities can sometimes last only a certain amount of time to block Juggernaut's basic amount of slashes, which I think is 12 at level 3, but his level 3 ultimate. But when you have these extra Omnislashes, he can sometimes do extra damage on you based off of these extra slashes. So if we look at the really early parts of the game, just when Juggernaut hits level 6, you need to be there. Even when he's 5 and he's nearly level 6, you need to predicting that he's going to be trying to Omnislash you. He will even dive the tower if he gets the chance. He will farm under your tower as an offlaner. You gotta constantly be aware that Juggernaut is going to go you on any chance he gets, and if he doesn't even get the Omnislash off, he can always put down his healing ward and run under your tower and just heal back up. So the harass doesn't even, a harass from the tower itself is not enough to prevent or disincentivize Juggernaut from diving your tower. So it's really important that when you hit level 6, maybe go to the jungle, put up a ward so that you can see where Juggernaut is at all times. And the thing is that you want to play safe when he's level 6. You don't want to, even as a support, you don't want to be rotating to that lane and just trying to gank. The only exception to this is if you have a hero who can disjoint Juggernaut's Omnislash quite easily, such as Puck. So the other thing is sticking together, that up to around 15 minutes Juggernaut won't have his Battle Fury, and it's typically the best idea to stand together as a group, especially if you have one of these multi-unit heroes such as Phantom Lancer, Chaos Knight, Meepo, because you can just crowd together. Even when Juggernaut has a Battle Fury, it's sometimes difficult for him to kill these multi-unit heroes until he has his second or third item. Then Battle Fury starts doing a significant amount of damage, and you in the later parts of the game you want to separate out, and even using a Force Staff to get away from the group where Juggernaut is Omnislashing you. And if you can go into the fog of war, even better, because Juggernaut can never blink on top of you and Omnislash you, or while he's in his Omnislash. It makes it more difficult for Juggernaut to chase you just in general. Now we'll be going into heroes right now. You're in the picking screen and you're wondering, what hero should I pick against Juggernaut? Well, there's 4 different types. There's 1, the durable. 2, the multi-unit heroes. 3 is a hero who can disjoint Omnislash, and 4 is a save hero. So we'll go through each one of these one by one. The first one you have is Wraith King. Not only if you just kill him with Omnislash, he's going to come back to life. On top of that, the Fusel Blade with Manta is not that good as it used to be. It was nerfed in previous patches. In general, it's still hard to burn all of Wraith King's mana. Plus, Wraith King now has a talent at level 20, which means that he doesn't need mana even to use the reincarnation. And the other thing that's really important about a lot of these durable heroes is that on a one-on-one right-clicking fight later in the game, Juggernaut loses. It's very hard to win against Wraith King's crit, even though Juggernaut has his own crits. The next one to go on to is Ursa. Now the thing is with Ursa, he has Fury Swipe, so it's now difficult for Juggernaut to win a one-on-one fight, especially in the early parts of the game. Now the other thing is you have Aegis, you can pick that up and it does the same thing as Wraith King. But the big thing is the fact that Ursa's Enrage, which is his ultimate, blocks an enormous amount of damage from Juggernaut. So if you can time that Enrage perfectly, oh, you're just going to block that. You're essentially rendering Juggernaut's ultimate useless. You're going to start seeing a trend here with these durable heroes, but Abaddon also is a hero who has a strong ultimate ability, who can heal up off of Omnislash. The other thing is when you buy Aghanim Scepter, you can absorb the damage from your teammates nearby, and you also have the shield that you can put on your allies, which can help you from like your allies dying in the laning stage. It's something that allows you to stay in lane against Juggernaut even when he hits level 6. Another hero which basically blocks all of Juggernaut's ultimate is Omni Knight, and he can save your allies as well that are nearby. You can build an Aghanim Scepter and save people globally. Now the thing is that all of these heroes are ultimate based. What if you want a hero that is in the mid lane? A lot of these heroes don't work in the mid lane. Well, a good one is Dragonite, because he has really high armor and it's really hard for Juggernaut to kill at all parts of the game, especially with the fact that he has passive health regen, so that he never is really standing around with low health. And even buying Armlet is a really good item because you can get more health again and more armor, and Wraith King often buys this as well. This is where you see this little bit of overlap between the heroes. Now going on to multi-unit heroes, by far one of the strongest counters to Juggernaut is Chaos Knight. Now not only does he have a lot of illusions that are very hard for Juggernaut to kill, but when you use Phantasm, it disjoints Juggernaut's Omnislash. A lot of people don't know this, but it's a very key thing that helps Chaos Knight fight against him. But another thing that is even more useful is that Chaos Knight has a spell immunity talent that allows him to use Reality Rift through spell immunity. So this thing, when Juggernaut spins and runs away, Chaos Knight can just pull him back in. And later in the game, Reality Rift not only reduces Juggernaut's armor, but he melts. He literally dies so quickly to all the Phantasm illusions with Chaos Knight. It's very hard for Juggernaut to deal with this. Now Juggernaut does have advantages at other parts of the game, such as split pushing, which Chaos Knight really struggles with. Meepo is another great hero to deal with Juggernaut, because in the earlier parts of the game, Omnislash will just bounce off of each other, and he doesn't have a Battle Fury yet, so it's difficult for Meepo to deal with this. Now the other thing is, later in the game, if you're a good Meepo player, you can have your one Meepo over here and the other one at the other side of the map, and when Juggernaut goes to Omnislash one of them, you can poof them over to the other one, and you just avoid Omnislash completely. Now this is not only difficult for Juggernaut to keep you and hold you down, but it's also the fact that when you go to some hero like Phantom Lancer, it's difficult to get Phantom Lancer. You have to bait him out and make sure that Phantom Lancer uses his second spell, which disperses him out and creates illusions, that you have to wait until Phantom Lancer uses that, or it's on his cooldown, before you can Omnislash. But as a Phantom Lancer player, it's also pretty easy to deal with Juggernaut because you can burn his mana. This is a pretty big thing that a lot of people don't realize as well, is that Juggernaut struggles with mana, and in the laning stage, if you're an offlaner, mana is really important for Juggernaut. Burn his mana at any chance you get, especially if you have a hero like Nyx or Clockwork. These are heroes who can easily burn their mana. But the thing is that Juggernaut will often buy a mango, or he will have a wand, and he will keep keep up charges of that wand just so he can get enough mana to use his Omnislash. At lower level matches, like at maybe 2k, you won't see this stick being used as much, so that burning his mana can literally mean that you can stay in your lane. This is just an example of how a lower skill player and a higher skill player will play the hero in different. And I said that earlier, that there's a big broad difference between how different skill levels of players will play this hero. He seems really simple on paper, but when you're actually playing him, there's a big difference between skill. So now going on to disjoint heroes, and I'm only going to cover the ones that are easy to do. There is some other ones out there, but first one is Riki. Now, not only does Riki's ultimate disjoint Omnislash, but he can also blink strike away from Juggernaut's Omnislash, and this is really useful for even leaving Juggernaut in the creeps. Another thing I didn't mention is that you can walk over to a creep camp, and sometimes you can manage Juggernaut to jump into the creep camp and you walk away and essentially dodging some of the damage. This is more useful when Juggernaut is on level 6 or he has his level 1 ultimate. Now the next disjoint hero is Puck. You obviously have phase shift, but you need to make sure that you don't use your phase shift too early, but you have good timing so that you can use phase shift during his Omnislash. The other way that you can disjoint with Puck is using your ultimate orb, your illusionary orb. So yeah, that's a way. It's a little bit harder, but if your phase shift is on cooldown, this might be something that will work. The next disjoint hero is Storm Spirit. So you can zip and you can end Juggernaut's Omnislash because you're not in range anymore. Now the thing is, if you do really short zips, Juggernaut's Omnislash will continue. Sometimes, depending on if you're not targetable during the next slash, then Juggernaut's Omnislash will not continue on. Now the other hero that's very similar to this is Ember Spirit. So you can just jump to your Remnant and Omnislash ends. So it means that Juggernaut needs like an Abyssal Blade or someone to hex you to make it difficult so that can't get away. Another great example is Slark. Slark can just use his Shadow Dance, and then sometimes you can do this trick of like going over near the creep camp and then pouncing away. These are two ways, but the other thing that's really important about this interaction is that Slark can turn it around and start stealing stats off of Juggernaut with his passive. Now to go on to the last section of hero picks is save heroes. So the two best ones are Winter Wyvern and Pugna, because the Eternal from Pugna lasts quite a long time, and Winter Wyvern's invulnerability that you give them with your heal lasts a long time as well, and it gets through the entire Omnislash. Now the other ones are not so good, either because they're hard to pull off or that they may not save you completely, are Bane, Shadow Demon and Dazzle. The thing with Bane is that Omnislash essentially ends it. Juggernaut can end your Nightmare with his spin. You have Shadow Demon. It works pretty well if you're just saving yourself, but saving your ally, you're probably going to die yourself, or it can only save like just about one person. And with Dazzle, the thing is that you're not really like healing them up, you're just allowing them still to take that damage, and they'll be really low HP and Juggernaut will just finish them off. But maybe you picked your hero before you saw Juggernaut. That means that you have to go towards items and how you itemize against Juggernaut. The two best items, hands down, are Ghost Scepter and Ewel's, because now with the new Diffusal Blade, you can't dispel them anymore. So the thing is that they essentially render all of that damage useless. The only thing about Ewel's, it's not as good as Ghost Scepter because one, it's more expensive, but the fact when you're in the cyclone in the air, when you come back down, people will stun you and sometimes kill you. The advantage with Ghost Scepter is that you can keep running, and you can even like bring Juggernaut with you and put him in a bad position. Two other really good items are Glimmer Cape and Force Staff. I mentioned Force Staff earlier, how you can Force Staff yourself into the fog of war, but also Glimmer Cape that you can go invisible, so Juggernaut finds a hard time to get solo kills with you. Similar thing goes again with any other invisibility in the game, such as Shadow Blade or Riki's passive Bounty Hunter's invisibility forces Juggernaut to have dust, or someone on his team to have dust. Now the other thing is that when we look at armor is something that's kind of good, but not that useful if you have it on your own. Plate mail, that's a lot of armor, but it's not that effective. It only blocks a small amount of damage. However, armor is still good but it's only really useful when it comes in auras. So when you have Assault Cuirass or Crimson Guard, even a Buckler is quite useful against Juggernaut's Omnislash, and it's about having armor on all your units on your team and making sure that that person who has the AC stays alive. Now the other item and the last item to go on to is Aeon Disc. This is an item that I don't really like because it doesn't last long enough, especially with the fact that Juggernaut can get extra slashes through his talent or Agonins. It can be difficult to like block enough damage using the Aeon Disc. If you enjoyed this video, please tell me what you think in the comments and tell me what ultimate ability I should do next. If you want to see more of this kind of stuff, make sure you subscribe, and if you're already subscribed, hit the notification button.